Imagine a modern military, battle-hardened and equipped with automatic weapons, deploying into the desert to fight a war against 20,000 flightless birds and losing. This is not a summary of an absurd comedy movie, but a documented historical event known as the Great Emu War of 1932. In a world where we think human technology can conquer anything, this story stands as a bizarre reminder that nature has its own guerrilla tactics that can bring a modern army to its knees. The battlefield was the Campion district of Western Australia, a place where the human mind's fascinating labyrinth of survival and pride met its match in the animal kingdom. Following World War I, the Australian government gave discharged veterans marginal land to farm, promising subsidies for wheat that never actually arrived. As the Great Depression took hold, these struggling soldier settlers faced a new feathered nightmare, an invasion of 20,000 emus. These large birds were migrating from the inland regions and found that the farmers cleared land and new water supplies with a perfect, outrageous laboratory for their own survival. The emus didn't just eat the crops, they destroyed fences, leaving massive gaps where rabbits could enter and cause even more havoc. Desperate, the farmers didn't ask for more subsidies or better tools. They asked for machine guns. Because these farmers were veterans, they knew the effectiveness of the Lewis gun, and the Minister of Defense, Sir George Pierce, readily agreed. He saw it as a dual-purpose mission, helping the farmers while giving his troops target practice. To ensure the public saw the government doing something, they even enlisted a cinematographer from Fox Movietone to film the expected slaughter. It was supposed to be a quick, decisive victory for human ingenuity over primitive biology. But nature is often a master of adaptation and resilience, much like the immortal jellyfish that can reverse its own aging, or deep-sea sponges that live for thousands of years by simply outlasting time. When the war officially began in November 1932, the military quickly realized that emus are not easy targets. Led by Major Gwynedd Meredith, a small detachment of soldiers armed with 2 Lewis guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition tracked a flock of 50 emus. As soon as the guns were in range, the emus did something the soldiers didn't expect. They split into tiny groups and ran in different directions. This made it impossible for the gunners to target the serried masses they had imagined in their dreams of point-blank fire. The military tried to adapt, but the emus were always one step ahead in this biological contract of survival. On November 4th, Meredith established an ambush near a local dam where over 1,000 emus were spotted heading toward their position. The gunners waited until the birds were in close proximity, a classic military tactic designed to maximize casualties. They opened fire, but after only 12 birds were killed, the Lewis gun jammed. The remaining 988 birds scattered into the desert before the gun could be cleared. It was a humiliating moment that highlighted the Dunning-Kruger effect of military planning, overestimating their own skills while vastly underestimating the bullet-carrying capacity of their opponents. By the 4th day, the soldiers noticed that the emus had developed a sophisticated social structure for the conflict. Each pack seemed to have a leader, a big, black-plumed bird standing 6 feet high. This sentinel would stand watch while the rest of the flock carried out their work of destruction, warning them of the army's approach. It was a literal social network built on survival, similar to how lemurs in Madagascar sing in harmony to defend their territory, or how prairie dogs use a secret language to describe the size and speed of predators. The emus weren't just birds. They were behaving like a disciplined military force. Major Meredith Increasingly frustrated, even tried to mount a machine gun on the back of a truck to chase the birds down. But the plan backfired spectacularly. The desert terrain was so rough that the truck couldn't gain on the birds, and the ride was so bumpy that the gunner couldn't fire a single accurate shot. One bird even got caught in the steering gear, causing the truck to veer off course and crash through a fence. After 6 days and 2,500 rounds of ammunition, the confirmed kills were somewhere between 50 and a few hundred birds. Meredith's official report was grim. His men had suffered no casualties, except for their dignity. But here is the twist that challenges everything we think we know about modern solutions to natural problems. After the military was initially withdrawn due to negative media coverage, the Western Australian government insisted on a second attempt. Major Meredith returned to the field and claimed he had finally achieved success, reporting 986 confirmed kills with exactly 9,860 rounds, a perfect, yet highly disputed ratio of 10 rounds per bird. He even claimed that another 2,500 wounded birds had died from their injuries, a figure that historians now believe was wildly inflated to save face. The reveal of the true victor is mind-blowing. Despite the military's claims of success, the emu population persisted and continued to ravage the wheat fields for years. The army had used machine guns, trucks, and tactical ambushes, yet they had failed most miserably. The problem was eventually solved not by a high-tech military intervention, but by a simple, ancient incentive, a bounty system. In just 6 months in 1934, over 57,000 bounties were claimed for emus, achieving more in half a year than the entire Royal Australian Artillery had accomplished with machine guns. It turns out that individual citizens, motivated by a simple reward, were a more effective biological hack than a formal army. The Great Emu War tells us something profound about the human spirit and our often misplaced hubris. We are creatures of socialization who often project our own structures onto nature, assuming that because we have bigger superpowers like electric sensors or magnetic navigation, we must be the dominant force. We saw a nuisance to be culled, but the emus saw a fight for survival in a harsh environment. This story is a reminder that the human brain, for all its sophistication, can still fall into the Mandela effect of believing its own myths of superiority until nature provides a harsh reality check. In the end, the feathered foes won the tactical war by simply being more adaptable than the humans hunting them. The emus didn't need machine guns. They just needed their natural resilience and the ability to work as a group. Today, this event is remembered mostly as a comedy of errors, but it remains a symbol of the 90% of the natural world that still defies our control and understanding. It makes you wonder, if a flock of flightless birds can defeat a modern army, what other undiscovered voices in nature are we underestimating? If you were a strategist tasked with winning a conflict against 20,000 wild animals, what is the one non-violent tool you would use instead of a weapon? Let me know your most creative ideas in the comments below, and tell me if you think this war was a glitch in human history or a masterclass in animal behavior.